I'm delighted to be joined by Michelle Kane here at our Irish Equine Rehab and Fitness Centre just outside Lisburn in Northern Ireland. How are you this morning, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, this morning. The weather hasn't been so great for you this morning, but hopefully it'll improve for you a bit later on.
Please God. But great facilities you have here. You're here now just short of 3.5 years?
Yeah, we opened about 3.5 years ago and have tried over that period of time to improve our facilities as we've gone along.
Tell us about what we're going to have a look at this morning.
So this morning we're going to let you see a horse using the treadmill one on our cold salt water spa. We'll let you see our salt room facility. We'll let you see our new piece of equipment, which is our cryogenic therapy. And then in conjunction with others, we'll show you the equine tendon stride boot, which we use for tendon injuries, and also let you see some shockwave therapy carried out by McRenolds.
So the shockwave machine uses acoustic sound waves, and it reduces the pain greatly with horses, and it also stimulates healing. It helps with stem cell production, increasing the circulation, and stimulates growth factors in the horse. So that can have lots of purposes, whether you're recovering from injury or just maintenance to help maintain the performance of the animal during training.
Get a look at it on here now on a horse being used. This is a high-end eventer. Tell us a little bit about exactly what you're doing here, starting off on his back.
So I'm going to use the machine on his back. At times he has a little bit of pain in his back, so this is really just helping to increase the circulation, help to keep those muscles supple. And this horse is actually working a lot. He will maybe gallop 2 to 3 times a week. He also has to do dressage, he has to do show jump, so he's working very, very hard. It's equivalent to a human athlete.
And this horse, of course, as well, was a reserve for the Olympics and has only come home from European Games as well, so this is a serious animal.
Yes, that's right, that's right. And this horse's work really started this time last year, and everything we do is just about helping to maintain his suppleness, to keep him happy, to keep him comfortable, and shockwave is just one of the tools that we use with him.
And moving on to the neck here then as well, it's serving the same purpose as what it did on the back then?
Yes, exactly. And the neck can take a lot of concussion. You know, the horse is jumping at speed just like a racehorse would, and absorbing a lot of concussion when he lands. So the neck actually and the shoulders do get quite tight as well, and this will just help just to soften it up, let it relax, and allow him just to continue to be nice and soft and supple, especially in his dressage where those marks really matter.
And then moving down to the tendon then, which is probably the most important part really.
Yes.
For a horse's recovery.
Yeah. So with the likes of this horse, we're just really helping to increase the circulation. Tendons don't get much circulation.
Because of so much jumping really, was that be the reason for this horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's still working hard. He's working on some hard grind, some soft grind, but really he's just using his body, working very hard, and those tendons just need a little boost really. Yeah. And for a horse that did have a tendon injury, what we're really trying to do is boost the healing and try and stop that scar tissue formation.
And tell us a little bit about the machine when it's in working order. Then the numbers that we're looking at. Then what sort of numbers of the beat is that the right way of putting it? The beats, the shocks.
Yes. So the shocks.
How high are we getting it up to?
If we were doing a tendon, we would probably do around 3,000 shocks. If we were doing a horse maybe over the SI, over the pelvis, and including into the back and neck, you'd be getting up to about 20,000 shocks that are delivered in quite a short period of time.
Yeah.
So we use a packet of the salt, which is about, I would say, 200 grams of rock salt. It's a mineralized rock salt, so it's not what you would be putting on to your dinner. It's much fresher than the salt you would be buying in the shops, but specifically is enhanced with minerals to assist with the respiratory. So we use the salt therapy suite for really 3 purposes. For respiratory issues, and that can be that the horse has had a cold, has had an infection. It's very good for clearing them whenever they have had like a hob day or a tie back. It'll keep their wind system clean. What it also does is if there are any skin conditions, the salt obviously is micronized through the machine and comes out the far side as a very, very fine dust. So if they're scoping a bit dirty, this helps them to clear out their respiratory system, and it does it in 2 ways. So the salt will liquefy the mucus, and they can either expel it much easier, or it's absorbed through the lungs and dissipated out through the body.
And Karen, this is the Equine Stride boot. Tell us a little bit about this and how it works.
So we've used this from equinetendon.com. So this boot is for anything coming back from a tendon injury or fetlock injury or ligament injury. So there's 4 different settings on it. We'll change these settings according to the horse's work and as we're loading more work on. So we'll start at 4 for really bad injury. Go down to 3 as we increase the work, and load burns increasing over the rehab program. And obviously different settings, so 4s would be the most restriction, and then down to 1 you can trot and canter in 1, so there's not as much restriction. But that's the EquiStride boot, and we've been using that along with equinetendon.com and the UTC scanner. Now the UTC scanner is a colour scanner rather than your usual black and white scanner. It works in colour codes, so green would be your good fibres in your tendon. That's what a good healthy tendon would have, all the green fascicles in it. And then blue would be your scar tissue or your healing tissue, and red is then your damaged tissue. But sometimes red can show up on it as the tissue's healing, the healing process as well. So yep, so we work along with equinetendon.com with these 2 pieces of equipment, and Hank offering comes up once a month for with the UTC scanner and scans the horses, and we make up a rehab program with the boot, or sometimes they don't need the boot in the treadmill, or would use spa treatment or cryotherapy, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Is the new piece of equipment we got was a cryotherapy machine. So it works, it's minus 78 degrees, so it's the same sort of science as the spa. So you're cooling the leg right down, so you get a rush of blood to that area for the healing process, and speeds up the healing process. So we've been using that quite a lot. It can be used for tendon ligament injuries, takes away any inflammation. We can use it on their back, muscles, all sorts. A lot of human athletes are using it, so it sort of came from there. What's interesting is when the colour change from before and after using. It's amazing. Like it literally like a 1 to 2 minute session, and it's cooled the area. And it's down. Nice, isn't it? You've sprayed on my arm earlier, and it's it's nice feeling. Like I've arthritis in my ankle, and it's keeping me right. Like stops me limping about. So a little bit about this. Is it just basically what you see is what you get?
Yes, so the treadmill can be used for 2 purposes. It can be used as a very good tool for rehabilitation because there's no concussion, but it can also be used in a fitness program. So we would use it with 2 different client sets essentially. As I say, there's no concussion. We use bespoke programs, so we're adjusting the program to every single horse, how it copes and where it is within its work perimeters. So that depends on speed, water, the level of water, and whether or not we use an incline for them. A trainer feels a little bit of heat during training in a tendon. They can put the horse into the spa and the inflammation will be reduced. The spa water is loaded with Epsom salts and pure salts and sits between 2 and 4 degrees. So basically what that does is it drains the limb of blood and gives a fresh rush of blood when the horse comes out, which will enhance healing and will take away any inflammation.
Someone was to send a horse here, is there a certain criteria? Is there a certain length of time they need to be here, or can they come for just one of the services that you have, or do they go through everything?
No, it really depends on what the owner wants. So they can stay here from a short-term livery if they wish. With just a couple of days they can cram in various parts of our services like the treadmill, the spa, salt room, or they can stay for a lengthier period if they are rehabbing from an injury. We also take drive-ins, so for example if someone wanted to run a horse through the spa or the salt room, it's just a matter of giving us a ring and we would have appointments most days. We'll give you an appointment to come down, and basically depending on the service it'll take between 20 and 35 minutes to run through the service, and then they load up and they go again.
Brilliant. Well, listen, listen, thanks very much for having me this morning. It was a pleasure. I learned an awful lot this morning about what can be done for horses, and I'm sure a lot of this stuff can be used for humans as well, so it all makes sense. And thanks very much, and very best of luck for the future.
Thank you very much. Great to have you. Thank you.